What's up guys, and welcome back to Pop Beat Breakdowns. In today's video we're going to be breaking down a country pop beat which you could associate with being a Taylor Swift inspired beat. This was a beat I recently made for my beat store, and I thought this would be a really good beat to break down because it has certain elements which you could put into a category of building up a country pop production with acoustic pop elements. So in this video I'm going to be breaking down exactly how I made the beat from start to finish, so you can get the best idea of how you can go about starting a beat from that first initial idea to finishing off the production. If you are new to this channel, smash the subscribe button right now as it's the best way to support the channel. Make sure you don't miss another video like this. And as for today's sponsor of this video, samplesbyjoegorchi.com. If you're looking for some guitar samples to take your productions to the next level, I highly recommend you check out the Epic Guitar Sample Pack by samplesbyjoegorchi.com. These are 100 royalty-free guitar samples that I have made myself, and they're 100% royalty-free to use in your productions. And there's also a variety of other sample packs in the store as well. So if that's something that interests you, after this video, go click the link in the description and go check out samplesbyjoegorchi.com. But with all of that out the way, let's now get into the topic of video and let's break down this production. Okay, so one thing I like to do for these videos to make it really helpful is to keep everything going down in the order that I added it, so you can see exactly how I went about building this production from the ground up. This is a very simple production, so this is something that you'll easily be able to do yourself. That's what I love about doing these sorts of beats in these videos, because I really think they can help you, especially no matter what stage you're at with your production. And today we started with the acoustic guitar. Now one thing you'll notice is I always categorize all of my stuff into track stacks. This is a very efficient way, not only from a mixing point of view, but also just from organization and workflow. So if you're not doing it already, make sure you're doing that in your productions, because it just stops any mess happening. And when there's mess, sometimes it can be really hard to navigate through your productions, which can hinder you getting it finished. And if you're a Logic user, that is Command-Shift-D. That's how you create a track stack. But anyway, today, firstly, we started with acoustic guitar. Now, more specifically, we've got two different variations of guitar going on here. We have the Strummed Acoustic 2, which I'm using the handmade pattern today. Absolutely love it. I love Native Instruments. These always sound really good out the tin. And if you're not an acoustic guitar player, something that's absolutely perfect to have. Now, we've got two different variations of that. And then the Guitar 3 is actually some picked acoustic, which again, we are using Native Instruments picked acoustic, and we're using the uphill B pattern. So when you put all three of them together, this is what it sounds like. Now, one bonus as well to having this instead of real guitar is obviously you may not play guitar for starters, but on top of this, if you're trying to build a production quickly or if you're to a deadline, I do find plugins like this are very, very useful to have. You may be someone who believes in recording real acoustic guitar, and that's your choice, but especially if you're a beginner to music production, that is a really easy way to get acoustic guitar into your productions, which sounds great without having to worry about the fact of actually mixing acoustic guitar. Now, we move on to the piano, because the piano is one of the more underlying qualities of the song this time. More just to lay down the chords more than anything today. So the piano we're using today is again in Kontakt. We're using the Maverick, and we're using the Tranquil Maverick preset. I really love this piano because it's really mellow and sort of understated and warm. So it's really nice to sort of sit in the background of this production. Let's have a listen to it with the guitar. Again, just the chords, more just to have a little bit of stamp so you can hear the transition between each note. So we've got broken down into two pianos, which, by the way, I've sample delayed to the left and sample delayed to the right. So the main chords are sample delayed with a slight bias to the left, but it creates that nice stereo spread in the mix, so the piano sits around the mix rather than right in front of you, freeing up space in the mix for like the vocals and other instrumentation. And then the second piano is literally just playing the root note. As you can see here, it's very simple, but it puts a nice stamp on the piano, especially when it comes to the chorus. You can notice I've only added these to the choruses, so there's a little bit of a lift that helps bring, as you can hear. So that's, again, pretty simple so far, very simple stuff. Now we move on to the drums. The drums today, we've done a little bit of building, and there's certain things about MIDI drums which can be really hard to make sound realistic, so there's something I've done here to try and help when it comes to mixing the drums. I put the kick and the snare together so I can mix them both together, because the kick and the snare are two things that are very important to get right in terms of balance when it comes to drums, when it comes to mixing your track as well. So firstly, let's have a listen to kick and snare. By the way, we're using the Abbey Road 80s drummer today. You probably see this in a lot of my other videos as well. And then we've layered that in with a hi-hat. This is from the same drum kit, but again, I've put the drums in a different MIDI track so I can mix the hi-hat separately to the kick and the snare. And then fill that in. I've also put some crashes in as well. Again, keeping it separate so we can mix everything separately. And then that's why the track stack is so important as well, because then we can do one final mix altogether. But again, this is with the crashes. And then lastly, we've added in some fills as well as a nice little transition between sections. Sounds really cool, and basically that's it really. There's not much of the way of mixing going on. What I've done is I slapped in Ozone 9, which is a really, really fun plugin to have. It cost me £75 on a deal. This is normally about 200 something quid, and I'm just using a preset today. This I believe is the Space Drums preset, which I just like to add sometimes because it kind of gives the drums a bit of space to breathe in the mix. And again, there's nothing wrong with using presets. I've been producing music for nearly 9 years and I still use presets because my motto is if it sounds good, it works. So that's exactly how the mentality has to be. Don't think you have to do everything yourself when it comes to mixing. I could mix it, but it takes more time again, and even though we don't ever want to rush things, sometimes it's really good to have a very nice sort of like efficient workflow where you can get some things done for you, because it means you can spend more time focusing on different aspects of the production. So with the drums, let's have a listen to everything so far that we got all together. So we've got the piano, got the drums, acoustic guitar, and this, just these three elements right here is the foundations of this country pop song. Now next, we've just very simply adding the Solid Soul electric bass. This is a Logic preset, so any of you Logic users, you can use this one. Laid it in underneath. Again, that didn't sound very good by itself, but it's all about context. When you actually put it in with the mix, it actually sounds like it's meant to be in there. Then we're using the Bebop organ, which is another Logic preset, which you can find in the vintage B3 organ section right at the top. And I've also got the pedal down as well, so it's got that little bit of a tremolo effect, as you can hear. To make it sound more natural, rather, what I would do is not have the pedal active straight away. So you can hear there's that little bit of sustain before the tremolo or vibrato, whatever you want to call it, comes in. I just think it give a little bit more of a humanistic quality rather than just being an organ slapped in there as well. Now we move on to probably what was the kind of uplifting part of the chorus, because for the most part of the verses, these are the elements that you can hear. So in the chorus, I needed something to be added, which gave it a little bit more of a rock element. And especially when you're listening to some of Taylor Swift's older albums, where it's kind of a little bit more of that mixture of pop rock meets country, then that's the sort of thing I wanted to get across. And you have to do that with electric guitars. So what I decided to do today was go into Kontakt, and I went to the Electric Sunburst. This has a lot of very good presets and guitar sounds for rock music, so I thought this would be a really good place to start today. And I found two little Wanderlust presets which I wanted to use. They're little loops, and I've kind of played them in. There's a little bit of triggering going on here. So we have the normal chords that you play, but then I've also got a couple of sus2 chords here playing at the end. Again, give it a little bit more of a humanistic quality. So let's play the guitars by themselves so you can hear them both together. It's a very generic sound. Cool, so that really helps give a lift to the chorus. As all of a sudden it's gone from like a country pop song delicate acoustic guitar to something that's a little bit more rocky and a little bit more upbeat just by adding in the electric guitars. The last thing then to add is the strings, because I do like to add strings in these kinds of songs. Like there's always underlying strings, especially in Taylor Swift songs and also in country pop music. And there's only one place I was ever going to go to the strings, and that's Omnisphere, because I love the Hollywood strings preset, the studio strings. Sounds great, and all I have to do is turn the attack right up. So I wanted the strings to really hit when it got to the chorus. As you can see, I've only got the strings actually playing the chorus other than this bridge. So let's have a listen to the string section I built. So I recently did a video breaking down how to actually build a string section. There's a couple of different elements that you have to really consider when building a string section. If you want to know more, check out my last video before this one, because I actually do a full breakdown of how you can actually build a string section from the ground up and the methods that you should apply to make it sound good. But as a quick summary, all I've got here is I've got the chords first, which I've laid down. So just playing the chords, string chords, just like this. Next, then I've gone for the root note, so it's just the bass note that's playing. Then I wanted something a little bit different, which is going to counteract the simplicity, so I added in these little staccato strings. And then lastly, I wanted some sort of melodic value, something to make the strings have a bit of movement, so then I added in this string melody. Again, it could be simple, doesn't have to be anything fancy. And then just for the strings, so it sounds like an actual quartet, like they're all playing together. What I like to do with the strings is to put them into one bus and then mix them all together, so they sound like they're a bit more glued together than just being separate entities. I've also put sample delays on all of them because this is theoretically doubling the strings in size without having to add extra strings. Again, like what I do is I put 2 of them sample delay to the left and 2 of them sample delay to the right. What this means is you're getting that even space and spread in the mix, and at the same time then when you mix them together it makes it sound like the strings are around you, which is a really cool effect. And then in this one I've got the Ozone 9, which I just put a little bit of a vintage warm electronic preset on, so it just gives it a little bit more warmth. And when you put that all together you have a country pop Taylor Swift inspired beat. Let's just have one more listen to this track. So there you have it, guys. That was my breakdown of a Taylor Swift type beat that I recently made. If you enjoyed this video, smash the subscribe button as the best way to support the channel. And don't forget to check out samples by joegotchi.com in the link below if you want to get hold of some loops to help elevate your productions to the next level. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Keep making music and I will see you in the next video.